the players on NME that they need to stop giving away free wins and that they're throwing some of their leads. But actually, NME are losing most of their games in the early game right from the start. They have the worst gold differential at 10 minutes for every team in the North American LCS, and yesterday was no different. They were bulldozed by Team Impulse in the early game. innoX had that AP Ezreal, but he didn't have time to scale up. By the time he would turn on, it wasn't enough. And even though he had AP Ezreal, there's no chance he could carry that game because they just fell so far behind.
Yeah, they got absolutely wrecked in the laning phase, so we're going to see if they can change that one today. We're going to check out the starting lineups as we get ourselves into the game. On the blue side is NME Esports with Flaresz in the top lane, Trashy in the jungle, innoX in mid, Otter on AD carry, Bodydrop on support, and Coach Brad behind them.
And on the red side, we have Team DragonKnights looking to pick up just their second win. Seraph in the top lane, Kez in the jungle, Ninja in the mid lane, played 2 victory games so far, Emperor on AD carry, and Smoothie on support.
That's Coach Sean. So it's going to be an interesting battle. This is normally a match you'd think would, handily go to NME Esports, and these guys sitting on 3 wins right here. They've already lost 0-2 to Team 8. We're talking about the relegation zone. They've either got to beat C9 with high, or they've got to take an upset win somewhere to get themselves above Team 8 in the standings. Otherwise,
or just win this game.
Yeah, or take this one, right, against TDK here.
This would be the most important game, because still technically speaking in the standings, this is the team they have a 2-game lead over. Everyone else they are tied with.
Yeah. Yeah, well, if NME can hold down TDK, that'd be a great thing for them. We can see what they want to do right now. Sivir away from Emperor, Vladimir away from Seraph. We're seeing very similar trends here where TDK enabling Seraph, I think, is still one of the very best strategies. I know we talked about the fact that they were playing some Lulu top, and they thought that, with Trust and Ninja, Seraph could play a different kind of role. I'm still a big fan of letting Seraph play his split push style.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
No Ezreal for innoX.
Yeah, I wonder if NME is going to... There's a couple things up here. Kalista is very high priority, but this would leave Rumble for Seraph.
Yeah?
Maybe it's a trade that NME is willing to take.
I actually wonder what the top
makes
lane...
sense.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder what the top lane landscape is like now that Nautilus is so popular. He was undefeated in top lane, I believe.
Yesterday.
4-0, and then he got played support in one of them, I think. I might be misremembering. He was 4-0 to a certain
support was the last game of Nautilus of the day.
Meanwhile, Kez gets Gragas. He took no jungle bans at all. His trademark Evelyn's still up, but Gragas to him, the #1 jungler right now, seems to be substantiated by most other jungle pickups as well. We'll see where the Nautilus ends up going if Seraph plays a hard tank. Again, I'm not a fan of that style for him, but if TDK makes it work, then good for them.
Yeah, it's all about how much trust they're putting into Ninja and Emperor.
True.
Before, Seraph was in a much different position, with substitute players in the AD carry and mid lane position, so therefore he knew he had to bring most of the team's damage from the top lane, and the numbers did reflect that. As far as top laners in the NALCS, Seraph had the most percentage of his team's damage dealt to champions of anyone else.
Yep.
But that will equalize, obviously. His Lulu game was not that case. Ninja, again from the mid lane, like most teams, provided the most damage this split, and maybe that's the direction that TDK is going now. They have the players they want in every position.
And we'll see if that trend continues here for TDK. Next 2 pickups for NME Esports goes with Shen and Rek'Sai, so a lot of tanks being traded back and forth. That still leaves up the potential Rumble here. That just might be grabbed. The enemy still not showing what could be their definite solo lanes. Rumble does come through after all. Seraph may get that champion after all for himself, and Emperor continues the trend of picking Tristana into Kalista.
Yeah, there's a chance that could be a support Shen, but most likely we're seeing a Shen top lane against Seraph's Rumble, which is a very favorable matchup for Seraph as far as the ability to deal damage. Also, Rumble very, very pokey and full damage. Shen can't really break through the scrap shield. It is a potential gank lane for the Shen, but that would require a lot of jungle pressure from Trashy. Something Seraph would want to take over the game with.
Well, and unfortunately for NME Esports, Trashy has really not found those early game pressure points that we were kind of looking for from him. It was a slow start as he wasn't with the team up until the very start of the split, but now 6 weeks in, it's still not been the easiest ramp up for him, despite him playing the entire Challenger season with NME Esports earlier this year. Maybe that ramp up continues. Last few picks here for NME. They're going to go for Ahri in the mid lane and support Annie coming through, so it will be the top lane Shen after all. Otter playing an assassin for the first time in about 2 months. Or 1 month, I suppose.
Yeah.
Sorry, I meant to say innoX. Yeah.
He's been playing nothing but poke champions. He was also on the losing end of an Ahri matchup yesterday. This would be funny. A Roomglaive Gangplank mid lane would be spectacular to see in the LCS.
In the crowd.
I want him
yelling,
to
do it.
I've been seeing a lot of people either do full AP Runeglaive Gangplank.
Yeah.
I don't even care if he locks us in. I'm going to tell the Gangplank story anyways.
Let's go.
Yeah, you either do the full AP Runeglaive, or I was watching Keen last night. Diana's still going to be cool with Smite.
Yeah.
Finish the Gangplank story. The build is Runeglaive, Static Shiv, Ludens, and then Infinity Edge. It's like the most ridiculous thing you could imagine working, but it somewhat does because you get giant magic damage crits on your parlay. It's just so silly. The mid lane Diana is less silly, but still effective.
We saw Shifter play it to pretty good success, farmed really hard, had the most gold in the game, and eventually just started destroying people with a bunch of 120 AP items. Ninja will continue that trend, playing mid lane Diana, his second champion played. You mentioned earlier he was double victor games earlier. And Team DragonKnights with a very aggressive, high damage composition. Support Nautilus after all, Gragas in the front line as well, and just damage dealers everywhere else. NME Esports looking for innoX to be a playmaker here. Not a lot of consistent damage otherwise, so.
True, big tank line for NME.
Yeah, I'm actually a little bit concerned about NME's ability to get through the TDK tank line, though. To be honest, I don't know if Kalista and Ahri is going to be enough to break through a Gragas and a Nautilus. We'll have to see if that happens here.
It'll be a little tricky. It is a support Nautilus, so it's not as difficult to break through. So if they get ahead, it's going to be one of those games where they do need to get ahead in order to do the damage.
Well, we'll see if NME can get ahead. Now, guys at home, we want to know what you think about that match. Tweet at LOL Esports with either hashtag NME win or hashtag TDK win. Let us know who you think is going to take this one down. On the online vote, TDK was already winning on LOLesports.com. Twitter may be different now that you've seen Champion Select. And Team DragonKnights now their third game of their intended rosters, still trying to move up the standings.
Yeah, and this game will be a huge indicator of whether or not TDK should be considered in the upper echelon of teams. We do have to throw out a lot of the earlier games they've had and maybe a bit of redemption they could get here in the last half of the split.
Well, you're talking about redemption, but this game is important to Seraph because he's got to settle the score against NME Esports.
Obviously, we want our team want to go to playoffs, so we have to win bottom 4 teams. So this match is really important, and also I want to beat NME because we lose first in NA Challenger CS finals, so I want to revenge it.
And just for some additional context on that NACS finals, Seraph was playing a Smite Shyvana, and he was absolutely destroying NME in one game, nearly solo carried for the game. But then at one point, he sold his boots for a Trinity Force because he was that rich, and ended up not being able to close the game. So Seraph has played amazingly against Flaresz.
Yeah, absolutely has, and it's probably going to continue. Honestly, Seraph's been one of the more impressive top laners to me this split. There have been a lot of very good top laners, especially with the improvement of some of the players like Hanser, but Seraph still continues to impress for me. We'll see if he can continue to play very well. Right now, lane assignments looks like TDK going to be double jungling as is standard.
Yeah, I kind of want to pay attention to this a little bit because, yeah, the double jungle start, even with standard lanes, is becoming the standard. So specifically, it looks like the top laners who bring teleport, we'll see how they do it because there's a couple of different ways. You can either have the top laner tank, get level 2, go back to base, and then teleport to lane, or you can just give him the experience and allow him to run directly to lane. But here, as you see, they're actually trading a little bit of damage, which, if Seraph is going to be going back to base anyway, wouldn't be necessary.
Yeah.
So Seraph should be taking as much damage as possible, and Kez regen, so that was done properly. And you can see NME doing pretty much the same thing, except they didn't take damage from the first camp. Flaresz, though, letting Trashy take some damage. It's mainly just trade tanking,
yeah. I mean, Shen sustain obviously very high. Neither jungler has used potions, which will mean they'll be full health on their longer form jungle clear. In the case of TDK, they also kind of made sure that Seraph didn't take much of the CS, helping Kez make sure he can reach his jungle enchant on his 4th jungle camp. TP in from Seraph with an extra ward in tow and a total of 3 health potions.
Yeah, it also allows them to get to the lane, obviously, with extra items. So yeah, I think that's going to be more and more the standard.
Yeah.
Only because top laners were doing a camp and teleporting anyway. They wanted to get level 2, as well as junglers trying to bypass some of the early difficulty in the jungle by getting the longest pull ever, basically, and paying for it with a little bit of experience.
It's funny how much League changes over the years, too. I remember last season, tank junglers were not very strong because it was so easy to invade them and they take so much damage during the first few jungle camps. And here we are in 2015, where it doesn't matter how bad a jungler you are, you'd get through your first few camps no problem.
Yeah, if you have 2 people jungling,
yeah,
helps tremendously.
Like, Sejuani would probably still work in like 2013 with these kind of rules, but right now you're seeing heavy trades. Now keep in mind, again, Flaresz locked 2 lanes, so Seraph is TP-less, whereas Flaresz can take hyper-aggressive trades and TP back for his sustain. Seraph with 3 potions, though, should be okay. Bodydrop, a great hook onto him, but a stun back on Emperor means no good trade.
I also do kind of want to point out the very start of the game in the jungle for TDK started with pretty much everyone doing a camp. Ninja did the Wolves, and I believe Emperor and Smoothie did the Gromp. So the whole team was jungling at the start of the game.
Yeah, pretty much League of Legends now, in a nutshell. Jungle and everything becoming a team objective. This is going to maybe many junglers, but a fight coming to the bot lane. A great body slam flash. Gonna catch up Otter, and the explosive charge takes the kill. Emperor's low. Trashy wants it. A great flash from Emperor, and no Void Spike comes out, making rocket jumps over the wall. Kez gonna get away safely. Flaresz also burned his teleport. Catastrophic for enemy.
Yeah, another early game swing here. Enemy already down 600 gold. Everything went right for TDK in that engagement. They get the gank. Then Flaresz loses his teleport advantage for no edge gain. He lost time in lane, so not only is bottom lane going to be behind here, not only is jungle going to be behind here because Trashy wasn't involved in the kill, but also the top lane is behind. So basically 4 out of the 5 members of NME are now losing their matchup because of that engagement that happened in 4 minutes.
Man, absolutely incredible stuff for TDK here. They're up 800 gold, which is already more than First Blood gold should be worth, but as far as experience is concerned, you're going to see Seraph already level 5 walking back to lane. Full level up off that TP play. Now Seraph's going to have TP advantage in about 2 minutes here where he can make more plays. He can go for a dragon or a bot lane gank. Oh, flash! Bodydrop goes through the anchor to catch up to Smoothie, who is a flashless Nautilus. The repeat gank from enemy Esports. TDK pushes the wave, gives the kill over to Otter. Comeback's happening.
Very smart right there by Trashy to immediately return to that lane.
Yeah.
Because in order to escape from the gank, the only mini advantage that would have been gained by Flaresz teleporting down is the fact that he burned the summoner spells of TDK in doing so. So they punish that immediately.
Oh, wow. Ninja forces the flash from innoX, but he... Oh!
What is he doing?
What a play from Ninja! Flash Q under the turret.
Wow. That's a testing your limits play right there by Ninja once again. He knew he was first to 6, went incredibly aggressive as soon as he had the cooldown for his Q once again. He flashed back in and trusted his ability to land the skill shot right there. It was also a pretty much max range Q, so innoX could not counter Ignite, which may have ticked him out at the turret, because there's no way innoX was expecting that move, so he's not going to layer the Ignite on early.
Man, absolutely incredible. They call them skill shots for a reason, and Ninja showing exactly why. Oh, man. All right, TDK quickly becoming a fun team to watch here, man. They are all aggressive all the time. Seraph has some free time to go ward up the jungle. They knew Rek'Sai was bot. 2 green wards down. Good luck, Trashy.
Yeah, spot him out entirely in the jungle, and he also was able to get in there without being sensed by Rek'Sai's Tremor Sense, I think, which...
yeah, pretty sure.
Makes it really difficult for Trashy to go anywhere. That just enables the aggression and the roaming from the rest of TDK, who now freely go in to get some deep ward. Nope, yeah, 1 deep ward and a tunnel kill.
All right, well, that ward's going to be on, I believe, in time for the red buff respawn, so they're going to completely track all of Trashy's possible gank pass, and I don't see TDK dying to him anytime soon because they should just know better at this point. Really good job to get the vision down. 500 gold lead for the red side. Now the risk, of course, is they saw Trashy run to the top side via the wards. Seraph was pushed in. He realizes that there's a Rek'Sai here, and indeed backs off because of the vision control.
Yeah, so just continue on the old lane. Let's talk about this Tristana versus Kalista matchup, actually, because this is a matchup that many people want to pick Trist directly into, although it is pretty dependent on the supports. So basically, you want to pick Trist and Kalista because you can out-trade the rend window that Kalista has. Trist gets more damage off in a shorter time frame with her explosive shot E and a few autos than Kalista would with the same time frame. But if you can extend the engagement over a really long period and stack up more and more rends, then the Kalista would win. So it's heavily dependent on the CC that the supports can layer on to track the time of the engagement, but that is why we're seeing more and more Trist, specifically into Kalista.
Yeah, and it's continuing to go generally well. This matchup, though, in particular, is actually going Otter's way. So Otter and Bodydrop were winning in CS even before the very first few ganks, and then with both AD carries getting a kill here, it's still Otter's way. And, you know, gotta really commend NME for doing well in a considered sort of counter matchup.
Yeah, the counter gank, or not the counter gank, but the return gank from Trashy has a lot to say about that, for sure.
And Emperor hitting 6 will be a nice window as well, because then he can actually forcibly disengage the Callista and refuse to fight any longer when as an explosive charge. We'll see that one come in fairly soon. Otter is ready to level 6, meaning Bodydrop can do whatever he wants and get saved as long as Otter has some mana. Recall will come through for, looks like BF sword timing for Otter. Does it pretty much on the wave, and that'll continue to make him feel powerful. With the CS lead, the fact that Trist already picked up Pickaxe, we're 3 waves away from that same break point here on Tristana. Means that actually, if enemy really wants, they could play for Dragon off of the TDK recall.
Yeah.
That might be a strat we see happen in the next 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah. Also, the unupgraded smites from Ninja and Kez. Ninja's gone with the challenging smite, but he has no sheen. He's not even close to his Runeglaive. He's gone double thorns and no magic, which means he's sunk in a lot of gold into just having the empowered smite, but that is very limiting as far as its actual combat effectiveness when compared to what innoX would be able to offer. Once he shops, you've got 1,200 gold in his pocket.
A lot of money waiting around to be spent right now. Trashy playing Scuttle Control. He just cannot seem to find any ganks in the top lane. His second time showing up looking for Seraph, but Seraph continued to play very smartly. Wave clear going back and forth, and innoX does not have the AP to cleanly clear the waves, so it's always Ninja who's able to run around first. Trashy can play the ward control game, but finds Seraph looking for him. I don't know if Trashy saw the pink ward.
Yeah, he'll get away just fine. He probably didn't see the pink ward. He has very limited vision when he's in his burrowed tunnel. But even if he did, there's no way he's stopping because Rumble's getting out of him.
A little bit of time bot though. innoX actually, hold on, is his skill order different from what I'm expecting? No, it's 4 points skew. Never mind. It just looked like it did less damage now. I was expecting, but no. Standard stuff for innoX's Ahri. Ninja again trying to roam around. He's already level 10 here, a full level ahead of innoX, who just dinged 9. Ward's getting cleared away, runs away from a Sentinel, and continues to put up ward control. Not really getting pushed around. 700 gold lead now for TDK. They're actually slinking farther and farther ahead over time in the laning phase. Fight attempt to the bot lane. They stun up Emperor. A lot of damage done. Ignite is on as well. A whole bunch of damage. Good job rending before he jumps out of range. TP stopped and then canceled by Seraph. I believe it was a flash taunt from Flaresz to make that happen.
It definitely was a flash expended from Flaresz. Even though if Seraph teleports in late there, it wouldn't have even been that good of a TP. Could have been a communication thing. But in the heat of the moment, I can expect Flaresz just wanting to interrupt that teleport. At the end of the day, Seraph trading a teleport there for the flash of Flaresz can be impactful for the Dragon fight, but it leaves Flaresz a little bit more vulnerable and less threatening.
50 gold. A lot of damage lost by Kez for that one, but looks like all is well. Emperor was even able to get his BF without getting stopped. And Seraph rushed a Void Staff, interestingly enough. He thinks that there will be enough magic for the stacking in the various lanes that he needs that damage right away.
Yeah.
Won't be able to fit it in later.
It makes him also less bruisery. Haunting Guy's health really helps Rumble early, but here comes TDK. Roam down from Rumble. They're trying to force a Shen ult as well.
Ooh, flash just in time by Otter, and actually no, just by Trashy. Otter just walked away enough. Explosive cask down, but TDK are in control of the Dragon. Now, the TP
this
is up
could
for
be
Flaresz.
a big fight for NME. They still have a lot of their ultimates coming in here, and a lot was burned by TDK. Here comes the Shen Force.
Shen ulti in on innoX, but innoX way too aggressive. Tries to get away, he's burning down, but actually survives. A kill and a Trashy. They force Emperor out as well. Enemy getting the better side of this fight to get control back over Dragon, and yes, NME Esports gets the kill, gets the Dragon, gets away safe.
The trust of the Shen ult was almost too great right there, but innoX does manage to escape. It gives him the fight and the Dragon, and they're continuing to try and pressure here.
You know, interesting adaptation from Otter here. I forget if he normally builds this way. You were talking about rend windows versus explosive charge windows. He is maxing the Q, the piercing arrow essentially on Callista to not really play for the rend status.
More of a wave clear
plays around that
and poke strategy.
That gameplay, yeah.
From Otter with a different skill order. You see it both ways, definitely, for the Callistas, whether it's the rend attack speed build or the attack damage Q build.
Yeah.
Either way, that was a huge play by NME. A bit of an overforce there by TDK. Once the play had missed, you'd almost want to cut your losses because they still could have retreated. Obviously, Seraph would have lost some CS up to Flaresz, but now they ended up losing more than that. They lost the kill as well as the Dragon, which would not have happened if they wouldn't have forced the Dragon after missing their kill attempt. So this is the fight that ended up happening after. innoX, they did their best to peel off and fight, but remember, there's no
4-man taunt.
There's no Rumble ultimate and no Gragas ultimate from TDK, so not only can they not displace, this clump of enemy cannot be hit by the Rumble ultimate, so they were pretty weak aside from their single target burst onto innoX, which didn't even net them a kill.
Yeah, I mean, that was a miracle play by Flaresz, though. He got in just in time and stunned basically everyone. If TDK had fanned out a bit more, 2 autos would have killed off the Ahri. It was so incredibly close. innoX barely gets away with his life, but ends up being a play that does benefit NME Esports, all said and done. Seraph and Flaresz back in the battle, but Void Staff makes him so squishy. You can see the kind of damage Flaresz is doing.
Yeah, what Seraph is trying to do is he's trying to cut through with his Void Staff, the now 117 magic resist that Flaresz already has, but it doesn't actually work that well. Void Staff is 35% of that magic resist, then you factor in the flat penetration. So if Seraph actually wants to kill Flaresz, he needs Sorcerer Shoes and a Haunting Guise on top of his Void Staff. So it'll be a long time until Seraph can actually ding down Flaresz.
Absolutely. The Void Staff only representing about 40 magic resist shred against that target specifically, much less against everyone else. And
he's squishy.
He's very squishy. Taunt comes back in, easy knock him, and down goes Seraph. Equalizer barely comes out before he dies, but uselessly so. Only kills 2 caster minions. Ninja gets charmed, though, wants to fight innoX. Level 11 for both. You can see the MR stacking working pretty well. Nice pull back to get rid of some of the ultis, and they burn down from challenging Spike gives Ninja the kill.
Yeah, that's the mini ignite / mini exhaust giving him the tick right there, and they're maybe going for a bit more.
Man,
that was
a good
strange
explosive cast. Well, they thought they could force the kill off the stun, but Shen ulti coming in, couldn't force an explosive cast, blew back Otter to guarantee that couldn't happen.
Yeah.
I mean, they are elusive in the first place, TDK.
This game is developing in a very strange way based on expectations. Seraph is generally the main person who's being successful for TDK. He is getting a little bit crushed in the matchup against Flaresz, especially with that Trashy gank and his ever-developing build path going Void Stat. That's really not working out. But innoX has been the primary carry and primary damage dealer in almost all of NME's games, and he's the one that has been solo killed twice by Ninja at this point. So it's Ninja who's going to be looking to come in huge this game on this Diana, and Seraph who's just going to have to be that supportive Rumble.
Absolutely. So while Ninja's putting on all the carry pants, Trashy's been getting all of the ganks to work, and Emperor is actually losing lane as well, which is atypical for him. Pretty much both these teams swapped. If you swap the nameplates, I'd believe this game. Pretty much. Like, this
as far as which lane would be successful.
Yeah, as far as, you know, successful ganks and successful plays, this is a very interesting game, definitely to watch. A small lead now for NME Esports, their first of the game. Static Shiv going to be following the Bloodthirster for Otter, pretty much holds for the Q-Max build. It's what you expect to see from that champion. I like tracking builds, so that's me. We're seeing Abyssal early from Ninja, though, or at least the Null Magic, or the Negatron Cloak. When we saw Shifter play it, it was Luden Zeko off the Runeglaive. So, different, more bruisery type build.
Yeah, I think it's specifically for the matchup as well. We know that he's against Assassin and Ahri, so...
And he has a magic damage teammate, so it helps boost the value of Abyssal Scepter. And in fact, he finishes the item off the recall. You can see he spends his money down to 9, walks out the base. Merlin Amicon in for innoX, so no MR from the Ahri build, even though he has a Null Magic Mantle here. A jump in for Emperor, that's actually typical for him though, and that's going to mean Otter is a bit overextended. He will get ulted out. No, doesn't get used. Otter just gets killed right away, even despite the Flaresz ulti, and knockback only knocks back Body Drop. He's going to stay safe, but another one for 0. Engage works for TDK, and they're back in a good spot.
Emperor doing a whole bunch of damage, but innoX is roamed down. Ninja's still in mid.
That could be a risk. A flash knockup comes through. The charm is going to land, and they've already killed off Seraph. Flash unable to be used. A double kill for innoX finally enters into this fray.
Really
Turret's
strange
down.
development there because Ninja clearly has the one-on-one advantage on innoX, so any roam he should theoretically be able to match, and he's already killed the turret. The fact that he did not follow through there really punishes TDK. It was seemed like a surprise to them that innoX was down there, but it should not have been. So TDK won the first battle but lost the second, as happened earlier in the game as well in the bottom lane. Enemy doing really good job on the counter-attack for the most part, but now Ninja with a counter-counter.
Really nice pull in. Kez over the wall lands the body slam. Shen ulti pop to try to save Trashy, and he's got Bodydrop nearby. A big taunt comes through, does damage to Ninja, but the chase is still on. Gets Bodydrop with the shield activation, and now poor Shen overextended 6-5. TDK taking the kill lead once more.
Turning into a bloodbath right now. Dragon is about to respawn on top of this, and TDK should be in position to equalize. Plus, they're not punished for that giant wave that was ditched by Seraph in that lane up top, because Emperor is able to clean that as well. So good split-second decision-making there by TDK on the back end of that fight. It's been a little bit crazy.
It's absolutely been crazy. 11 kills in a 19-minute game. Dragon going to go over, looks like pretty cleanly to TDK. NME Esports right now really missing the fact that they don't have an Aegis or a Locket despite the two big AP carries here and the somewhat held down Tristana. That seems a bit amiss here itemization-wise.
I know. We even though I do not agree with the math of this all, we have been seeing this trend in European LCS a fair bit as well. A lot of teams are foregoing Aegis/Locket because they want to build a Spectre's Cowl or Spirit Visage to make their tanks tankier, while kind of sacrificing their squishies. So obviously, Spirit Visage and Banshee's Veil are better selfish items, whereas an Aegis or a Locket are better team items. So right now by NME, building the Spirit Visage on both of their frontline, they're making their frontline better, but it exposes innoX, Otter, and Bodydrop to dives if Ninja can actually get off a successful flank. Yeah. I do not think it's the right call to go Spirit Visage, but that is the logic.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, if you care about both tanks, Aegis is worth 60 MR. 40 on you and 20 on your friend, which is more than Visage gives. And with a Locket Shield, it's also more health than Visage gives. I have nothing but agreement to say with you, Jatt, here. The math, I think, even also backs it up. So, strange situation, but it is what we're seeing either way. I mean, the item comes through sooner, I guess, so Trashy feels good at.
And the build path is also much smoother. The Spectre's Cowl is beneficial early on.
Yeah, it just seems so greedy. But we're going to see top lane turret go down. TDK able to knock down all the outer turrets now. Emperor's been part of 2 of them. Ninja soloed one of them in the mid lane. We're seeing TDK now start ballooning a bit more of a lead as they are winning in turrets, winning in kills, Tide, and Dragons. Marks look good for TDK to make their way up the standings.
I'd still say it's a very competitive game.
Oh, definitely.
Otter and innoX needing to carry. Trash is going to have a pretty steep fall off here, going Warrior enchantment into tank items. So
I didn't even realize that. You're right.
Yeah, he has that big mid-game power spike, but it will fall off even harder than normal tank Rek'Sai would. So he'll be quite killable, and is quite killable by Emperor, especially right now, since he's built nothing but health and magic resist. So Emperor can crush through him with physical damage crits.
That'll be a risk that TDK may be happy for then, as the early game has more or less standardized. The gold is the same, and though Trashy did get 2 kills and 3 assists while being deathless, the game is still tied up here as the rest of the good plays from mostly Ninja have kept TDK in a good spot. Now Ward Control seems to be going TDK's way. Pink Ward's getting cleared, Scuttle taken away as well. Overall deep wards for TDK. There's actually a fair number inside the NME Esports jungle. Vision also goes to the red team.
Yeah, they have had the pressure advantage for most of this game, but Enemy has made some pretty good counter moves. They need to continue to be able to do that. Rek'Sai and Shen are quite good at counter engaging, because you can see people when you don't expect them. You can see people when the enemy doesn't expect you to see them, and Shen can also turn the tides of many battles.
Maybe that'll be the case. Enemy have won 1 team fight because of that Stand United. That was the first Dragon battle, but they've lost just as many with Flaresz dying afterwards. Still a very close game, and I want to see where the aggressive plays go. We're seeing Zhonya second from Ninja, so it is a very bruiser-focused Diana build. Abyssal second for innoX, so he's actually building his durability a bit later on.
It's a very fed Diana build as well.
Oh yeah, she's massive.
The typical Diana build a lot of the times back in the day was Abyssal Scepter Zhonya's, because you're going to be melee any rate, so it's a nice mix of resistances plus burst. The reason I really like the Runeglaive Ezreal, and you and I were talking about this a little bit, Phreak. I don't know if we'll have time to fully get into it.
Okay.
But these items like Cinderhulk, and Runeglaive are somewhat like multiplicative scalers for the class.
Yeah.
Which is one of the goals, I think, of the jungle items earlier on was to make it so they build up. But we actually have a fight probably approaching here. So we'll get to that later.
Later, Ninja, the most fed member on the map, just doesn't even take damage with the defensive build. Otter gets the Shen ulti. They're still trying to kill up Diana. They will do so. The shutdown on the big fed member at TDK. Seraph dies afterwards. It's a 2-for-1, though, as they have lost Smoothie. In goes Emperor, gets the kill, looks for the reset, and stays safe for now. Trashy and Flaresz maybe on the run. No, they go in. They catch the stun on Emperor. Tristana low on health. One more hit will do it. Flaresz gets the kill. Down goes the Nautilus as well. A 4-for-2, all said and done.
Yeah, over-aggression by Ninja early on, once again not respecting the Shen ult, and then the rest of TDK tries to pile on, but innoX and the rest of NME were there in the critical moments. Again, a play initiated by TDK, but countered by NME. They are using the Shen from Flaresz to the best of its ability right now, and they're reaping the benefits of it. Another nice counterattack, and now a 3,000 gold lead.
And Trashy remains 100% kill participation with 0 deaths. An absolutely great game from Trashy here. I've waited all year for it.
Best game of the split. So you can see Ninja saw the opportunity, but he really doesn't get the damage on Otter, and then he decides to keep going. At this point, he should have been backing away, especially once he sees the Shen ult, but instead they just try to keep going in. Trist can get there. You know, Emperor uses his burst on Otter, but he used so much for that they don't have anything left, and they have to keep stock of who is still on the map. It's a jungler support AD versus a top mid jungle. The top mid jungle is going to be stronger in that 3v3, even with the turret there, especially with the ultimate still up, and NME comes out on top.
Wow, Trashy keeps pulling damage. He's got a Hex Drinker.
Let's do it.
He's doing some damage this game.
This is the Reign Over special. Warrior, enchantment,
yeah, you're right.
Hex Drinker. Sometimes Reign Over builds that even before boots and just wrecks people. So it's a little bit later on in the game, but he still wants to be able to be that kill threat. Ninja, again, kind of caught out of position.
Looking for Otter, but is it really enough? Zhonya's popped to buy some time, and he's got backup now. So Ninja will survive with just a 90-second cooldown used. And he backs out. To quantify the lead Ninja has, he's 1,500 gold above anyone else in the game.
Jeez.
He's at almost 11K. The next closest is like 9-something thousand.
Yeah, we might get a bit of a Dragon Baron dance-off right now.
Ooh. 20 minutes in.
Yeah.
Dragon claimed easily by Emperor and Smoothie. Enemy only taking Scuttler away. And despite the fact that Ninja got chunked to half, it's actually NME Esports who give away control. A Dragon 2 not worth that much on its own, but it does continue the path forward.
Yeah, that gold on Ninja, not only is it from the kills in the farm, but it's also because he's now accessing the bonus gold that is normally reserved for a jungler. Every time he kills Raptors, he's getting that extra 30 from his smite. But this is
safe.
A nice little play by NME.
Knock up on Emperor. Wow, down he goes. innoX forced to run, but he's going to get enough time. Seraph now low. Otter pushed away to the front line, now isolated, but they do enough damage to continue the TDK retreat. Smoothie goes down as well. Flaresz a few inches away from killing Seraph. Void Spike's not going to be enough, and NME Esports continue to take team fight wins. The TDK assassination cannot break through the front line.
What a slick play right there by Otter and Bodydrop, not only coming in with the bait and switch, trying to use the Fate's Call as soon as cooldown's used on Bodydrop to immediately turn that into a pick onto a carry. Brilliant play right there, and this gives them an opening to take Baron. They have the Callista secure as well, so steal would be a dream, and they steal it!
The double smite! The Rend was early! The kills come back through, but Baron stolen by Ninja off a bad Rend from Otter. Oh, man.
Oh, my goodness. The threat of the double smite pulls the Rend trigger early. It was at 1,800. He rended to 375, and that let Ninja smite it. So
yeah,
they were... It's dangerous when you're against double smites. They can go into spike it because it's around 1,500 damage burst, even 2,000 if they time their smites with their damage spells. So it's a bit of a 50-50 even with the Callista right there. Tough break there for NME. Just when they thought they were pulling ahead, they give up Baron.
So Baron's worth 1,500 gold. The 2 kills worth about 900. And total gold gain that does go TDK's way, plus the 3 Baron buffs now on the members, worth, of course, more gold worth of stats. Actually 2, as Smoothie was still dead. But certainly, Team DragonKnights now have the opportunity to start pushing their way back in. We can watch that still again.
The power of double smites. Also notice how it's interesting how Ninja jumped on Trashy because he could have theoretically bursted the Baron harder if he R's onto that. But if he did use his R, then the Rend probably would have gotten it.
Yeah.
So a tricky little move there by Ninja, almost baiting the Rend, trying to get him to Rend early and then smiting immediately afterwards.
It's worth keeping in mind, if you stun Kalista, she can't rend either, so
That too.
there's
But
all
he
kinds
jumped
of
on a
tricks.
Trashy.
Yeah, but like an explosive cast, for example, could like mess with it entirely.
True.
So TDK though, all said and done, outplay the Baron play. Nice pickup for them, despite the Kalista secure potential. TDK now in a bit of the driver's seat. We're seeing waves getting pushed back and forth. Flaresz back on split push duty with TP advantage, so maybe a risk for Seraph if he wants to match that.
Yeah.
3, 1, and 6 on this Shen. He's certainly getting pretty big, going for Frozen Mallet as his next item. We talked about how few tank stats Seraph has, and Flaresz may actually win those fights outright. Actually, no, it doesn't build for Phage anymore. Sorry, I'm backwards.
Well, TDK is trying to go strong in the bottom lane right now. innoX has gotten quite strong. Otter is also powerful, so really pivotal fights about to come up. Remember, if a team wins a fight with Baron buff, they get a whole bunch of turrets afterwards, because the minions take incredibly long time for the turret to kill afterwards.
And you're seeing the siege attempted. Emperor on Tristana, of course, one of the best turret-killing champions in the game. They clear the wave. Rapid fire is on, and goodbye turret. Baron buff secured by TDK means at least one turret so far. Gold within 3,000. TDK mounting the comeback.
Yeah. Oh,
looking for the play. The charm doesn't quite reach at max range, and Talisman Ascension is on cooldown.
All right, maybe we'll get time to talk about Runeglaive again.
Yeah.
Trying to jump back to it. Maybe not either. Yeah, Flare's just going to run away. He's a tank.
I think he's going to be okay. Yeah. Maybe.
No, there's going to be a force in the mid lane, though. Emperor might be caught out.
Oh, yeah, back into the mid lane. Emperor very, very low. Ignite is on, but the kills can't quite come through, but Trashy durable enough to go for the knockup. Ninja
always
jumping
going in
forwards, looking for innoX. Pops, Zonia's can't get it. Flaresz still has ulti, which means anyone who gets dived is going to be saved so easily. Flaresz able to heal. Nothing needed to do.
Yeah, long death timer though, 45 seconds and already a wave in the top lane, even if enemy can't push. Plus the AD carries low. Maybe this is an inhibitor turret. There's not much there to defend it. Rumbleall can't clear the wave either. Enemy looking to take an inhib tower.
This is looking pretty good. The Baron buff is timed out. The gold lead still with NME Esports. Mid inhibitor should be killed off. Dragons at a minute 20, and enemy back with map control. This is looking once again good for the newest member of the North American LCS.
Yeah, so the games that enemy has won or been close to winning, it's not necessarily out of the early game. It's about mid-game rotation. Sometimes they're just a really strong team at getting picks and punishing opponent misplays. They lost that game to Team 8 despite getting a ton of different advantages through late-game decision-making, but the whole reason they're in a position to win is because of their mid-game pick ability, and they're doing that exactly here against TDK, whether it's turning around fights or catching people out of position. It's forcing Ninja and Emperor into bad situations where they're not making the proper decisions, and that's where enemy is gaining their edge.
They're doing it again here. They're looking once more for the pick. Bodydrop is going to land the stun onto the very squishy Seraph. Knockup comes through. Easy kill for Trashy, his 4th of the game. They will wait in top lane. Kez lurking around the shadows. Flaresz can still join the TP split pushing the bot lane. Enemy has nothing but time. Charm and a Kez. Smoothie wants in. Fates calls down, makes Bodydrop an acceptable target, but they don't get in for this one. Shen still pushing the bot lane. Enemy re-engage topside.
Very aggressive moves. I don't know if Shen's going to have enough time to do damage because Seraph will res. That's what TDK is hoping for. It's an aggressive posture to use that Righteous Flurry. TDK may still be looking to fight, but it would be super dangerous.
Flashes in. innoX is going to die for that one. Shutdown comes through. Shen going to be joining somewhat this fray, but Emperor drops out. Bodies drop. Flaresz is here. Looks for some damage. Otter can re-engage just maybe. Knockouts come through. TP flank from Seraph, but down goes Emperor. Now the battle continues, but Ninja cleaning up absolutely everybody. 2 shutdowns this fight so far. Trashy also drops. It's a 4-for-1 with Flaresz on the run.
Oh man.
Wow.
In what started out as a 4v5 with super minions pushing down on their Nexus turret, they may end up losing a Nexus turret for this. Yep, they lose one. TDK, what we're learning this game, whether or not they're a top team or not, they're always willing to go for the play, which makes them an incredibly exciting and dynamic team to watch right here. Still down in kills, now down a Nexus turret, but going to be up 3 dragons and definitely still in this game.
Absolutely the case. 3,000 gold down, and Hib will respawn before too terribly long. Enemy, a really unfortunate misstep in that team fight. That was an essentially upright 5v4 with Shen being able to join. Just the fact that Ninja found the engage. I mean, this is how they made that game against TSM so close. There was a big fed AP Ezreal, and they would find his assassination plays. innoX at half.
Yeah, innoX just got poked really low. A flash to R from Ninja. Just so aggressive.
Shen missed. He hit Otter with his ulti.
Oh, yep. And then on top of that, the Nautilus assault was on Otter, and it went through innoX, so it knocked up both of them. So a really well-placed Nautilus assault there by Smoothie, able to follow up the plate. Ninja just getting off a ton of auto attacks in that fight as well. The Crocus passive allowed for some really nice cleanup.
All right, definitely a teeth clencher.
Oh yeah.
This feels so much like enemy versus teammate. Same
This
situation.
is the barn burner.
They kill an inhibitor. They're ahead in gold. Barns are burning everywhere. And the comeback might just happen. Team DragonKnights looking for their second win of the split. They beat Team Dignitas. People thought they were in. They had a close game with TSM. People thought, all right, these guys are really good. But behind against NME Esports, not what many were expecting. They still might come out with the victory here. innoX poking to buy some time. Baron scuffle. Definitely interesting. Flaresz actually recalls despite having teleport.
Yeah, big Baron fight about to happen. This could very well decide the game. Remember, Phreak, this is so important for the relative standings of these teams. TDK still sitting on 1 win,
yeah.
Enemy on 3. The implications of this, if TDK ever wants to pass Enemy, they need to win this game. Split push pressure being put down by Flaresz. His Shen ults have been on point for most of the game, but had a slight miss there lately. Either way, TDK has to make this decision immediately, because either Seraph needs to be defending without teleport, which opens up the Baron, or they would have had to force the Baron, and they sleep on the decision. So Flaresz gets an inhibitor tower for no punishment.
Trinity Force, Flaresz, definitely a good split push, and I feel like he should have an okay time against Seraph as long as he's safe from getting counterattacked. Of course, enemy can't necessarily punch rotations around. If they surround onto Flaresz, he could die for it. Wave clear easy enough for TDK, but it gives enemy some time to once again take over Baron control. This battle over wards is so important right now. An enemy can't clear the ward right in front of him. Charm's gonna miss, and he's gotta be careful that Kaz doesn't blow him up.
Yeah, it's an incredibly dangerous Baron force for TDK in this case, because there's still 100 seconds on Seraph's teleport. If enemy has been tracking that cooldown, they should know this, and they should honestly be forcing Baron much more readily right now, because this is a huge power play opportunity for NME. If they want to be able to close games in late game, they have to be able to capitalize on timers like this. If they do not punish this teleport discrepancy by Seraph, it will cost them hugely, because TDK does have a slightly superior teamfight comp in the late game, especially with the way Ninja is scaling.
No, they're not finding the 4v4s, they're not finding the charm kickoffs, they're not finding the anti-engages. Flash is back up for Bodydrop, so
this is the last thing that enemy wants to do. They do not want to be shrinking the map and pushing up mid lane. That allows Seraph to defend and participate in the team fights. They need to stretch the map right now, which means Flaresz should be pressuring the top lane while enemy is sweeping and fighting off the Baron pit, but they actually don't have the sweeper control. They have one upgraded sweeper on Bodydrop. Everyone else has upgraded their yellow trinket, so they can't deny the vision to get the picks. If they're playing a pick composition, they need to have sweepers. This is enemy not capitalizing on things they should be if they want to be a top LCS team.
Exactly, and at the very least they have open item slots for pink wards to recall, buy up, and use those to control vision. Flaresz is going to push in the bot lane. Here's the engage towards Kaz, gets knocked right up by Trashy, but he's going to take a lot of damage on the not very tanky Rek'Sai. Tanks a Nautilus assault. Flaresz will drop the inhibitor uncontested. Enemy able to disengage. They forced finally enough pressure to let Flaresz drop the inhib. Enemy's goal for the inhib, not so much the fight. That works out. He goes back towards mid. That one respawned as well. Still no answer finally. Seraph has recall to defend. Easy retreat for Flaresz, but keep in mind, he's going through a base gate, and the rest of the team is coming. Rek'Sai to rejoin the team. He's getting more attack damage. Flaresz gonna get caught out with the ulti. He's in a 1v2. There's not a lot of damage dealt. I take it back. Seraph does plenty. The dash is not gonna do a whole lot this slow. Oh, man.
This is the moment right here, though, because they get the inhibitor, but the teleport is backed from Seraph. So they did force an inhibitor, but the game is on.
Oh, well, mixed call. They don't go for Kez in the right amount of time. Bodydrop gets killed. Fate's call was down. Now Otter forced to run away. Ninja in the front lines does not land the reset Q, though. Kez very, very, very low on health. Smoothie does go down to innoX, but Emperor's in the fight. Knocks him over the wall. Trashy does what damage he can. Can't quite claim the kill, though. It's a 1-for-1 jungler for support. Low health on TDK means they will have to give away control for some time. The enemy don't press anything.
Yeah, this game exploded a little bit. Enemy could have played that cleaner when they forced it, but they still get an inhib out of it. By no means do they gain control of the game right now. They burned the teleport so they can still force the Shen split push in the future. That teleport is incredibly vital for Seraph in this fight, but let's watch it again. Nice charm on a Kez. He doesn't get things. You say mix call, because that's exactly what it was. Kez flashed at the right time. Bodydrop gets blown up by Ninja at the start of this one. And here, unfortunately, Seraph could not find a better teleport opening because he burned his teleport but was still late to the fight, and then pretty much just zones Otter with that, whereas Otter would have been zoned anyway. Trashy goes down, innoX has to jump over the wall, but because of how low they got from that entire engagement, they do not gain much of a positive play off of the teleport, and now they have to wait for that teleport to come up on Seraph yet again.
It was a 2-for-1 TDK Saber, so some gold went their way.
He's in trouble. Why is Seraph still here? A lack of wards and a lack of map presence right here.
They don't land the stuns. They do land the slow from the Randuin's. Easy kill onto Seraph. Flaresz able to be a CC bot with the activated slow. Makes the chase happen. Dragon is alive right now, but enemy looking to knock down mid inhibitor first. They're giving up on the chance of Dragon. They know bot lane's already pushed in. Looking for the 5v4 on the open inhibitor with the big team fighting tool down.
Yep.
Shen ulti is up. He should be able to save Diana's target.
It's just the Kalista ult that is down for enemies, so they're mostly at full power, and it's a 4v5.
Behind
TDK has taken 4v5s before. Are they willing to do it again?
innoX, a lot of damage before the Shen can even ult. They get the one for nothing, but how about the re-engage? Zonya's popped by Ninja. Timbers in the front lines, a lot of damage coming through from Kalista. Down to half HP, he's still chasing. A great stun from Annie. They get the shutdown. The fight continues. Enemy's front line is big enough. Kez just barely gets out, but the inhibitor's open. There's a big wave bottom. It is, keep in mind, a 2 versus 4. Enemy can do whatever they want with the map right now.
Yeah, they just won a huge fight. The gold is still close, but this game is getting closer to being over here with 2 inhibitors down and now a Baron that they should be able to take securely. Enemy can be in position to push a 3rd inhibitor soon after this Baron.
Keep in mind, the last Baron did get stolen. There's always a chance that TDK gets the miracle play. Kez back alive. He's not running to Baron in time, but this will be a clean pickup, it looks like. And enemy will get their first Baron in 2 attempts here. Easy rend right there. Grabbed up. And Otter did, or innoX did not respawn in time for it, but 4 Baron buffs still pretty good.
Jeez. This is definitely a barn burner.
This is what enemy looks like when Trashy is actually effective. Like, this is what old Challenger enemy looked like. Now, granted, obviously the opponents are much stronger in the LCS, but this is the kind of game we expected for them. Their shot calling was fine. Their players all participated well. Flaresz is 3-1-10. He's such a high-risk player, but he's died so much in LCS games.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, Flaresz needs to be more on point with the Shen ultimates here. He can't. 2 fights in a row, innoX has been bursted down. That's what the Shen ultimate should be being used to protect from. Even if it's going to get interrupted right away, just pop that 800 health shield onto your guy that's getting bursted and be done with it. Right now, TDK is doing their best to push out these waves as far as possible because the 3rd inhib pressure is going to be there. Basically, TDK will have a very small window to win a landslide fight if they want to stay in this, because the Baron minions and the 2 waves of super minions that will be coming in, plus the Shen pressure, will be almost immediate. So Ninja's not even in plague position. Either way, TDK would need to go almost right away. Otherwise, they're going to lose the 3rd inhibitor, and Seraph is getting soloed out.
Wow!
That's not going to work.
Trinity Force Flaresz, man. He's doing plenty of damage here. Seraph forced to hide away. He does have home guard, so he'll be back in action soon. But 2 inhibitors down. Wave clear is going to be hard for them. And top lane being sieged one more time. Flaresz to regain the bot inhibitor. He is
Seraph
not afraid of
him.
Seraph. No, not at all. Doesn't take any major cooldowns for Shen to win that fight. Top lane getting lower and lower. Otter giving a lot of respect to the engage potential of TDK. Ninja zoning enemy out by himself.
It was a nice talisman right there by Bodydrop actually for the disengage, because enemy knows this is just a timing window. They know they have an advantage in the split push. This is the way you're supposed to be using the Shen, and they need to wait on the next wave to clear and get a 3 inhibitor advantage.
All right, once again, Seraph forced to defend. Down to half HP, is dealing damage to Flaresz, but there's the push on in. Top turret lower and lower. Trashy at half. Hard engage comes in for TDK. They want innoX. Force him to flash away. They're re-engaged. They're splitting their focus again, but they will knock out Kez. They force Smoothie to flash out, and the turret will go down, opening the 3rd inhibitor. TP comes back in from Shen. Flaresz already healed back up. Ninja forced to zone. This could be the game-winning push. Here they go. Ninja goes down. Flaresz in the front line taking the Nexus turret, but who even cares? Ah, he does. He dies. But it's still going to be the push. 3 members dead from TDK, 3 inhibitors dead, 4 kills now. Emperor, the last one alive. That's going to be the ace. That's going to be the game. Enemy Esports finally get their 4th win of the split.
What a massive victory right here for Enemy. This puts them at 4 wins. It keeps TDK at 1, and it is a huge, huge moment for them. because they are now 3 games ahead of TDK, who many expected to surge in the standings.
3 games ahead with only 6 games left to play in the split. Happy birthday. Thought so.
innoX's birthday. That's a nice birthday present right there. A lot of emotion coming up from innoX. This was a monumental win for this NME Esports Club, who has had such a difficult season. They started off with the win against Gravity, very first game, but since then, it has pretty much just been straight struggles. This game broke a 4-game losing streak for them. Most people had been counting them completely out as well, thinking that since TDK got the Koreans in, it was almost a done deal that they were going to lose this game.
Yep.
But NME fought strong in this one. They pulled off the correct picks. They used the Shen quite well. innoX played an assassin. They did everything they could, and they took down TDK in a very bloody game, but it counts as a win, and it solidifies a lot of their place in the standings.
And it also means that for their opponents here, for TDK, they really can't fight for playoffs anymore. The most wins they could get now is 7. TIP already sits on 6. That's practically impossible to take 6th place away. TDK is now, I mean, the question was, is the Miracle Season alive? They beat Dignitas. They almost beat TSM. Now, the Miracle Season is going to be, can you stay in the LCS right now? TDK cannot feel good about that game. They're in that bottom 4. Looks like they're there to stay. And the question is, where among those 4 are they? They're under NME Esports here. They lose the tiebreaker heads up. That's 2-0 for the split, in addition to being 3 games down.
Yeah, there was a lot of hope for TDK that they'd be able to come in and just miraculously turn into a top team in the NALCS here. And after watching their game against Dignitas, it was easy to believe in that. But now, in their first full week in the LCS, they're 0-2, right?
Yeah.
So they're now 1-2 since this roster kicked in. And something we do have to keep in mind, these guys are coming in mid-season.
Yeah.
So they are playing against the teams that, even if they had slow starts, would be able to be growing that synergy and coming together at this point in the season, which is somewhat what we just saw from NME. Throughout the mid-game, the shot calling and team play was cleaner on the side of NME than it was on the side of TD.